There's no such thing as original sin. I mean, you're not born into some, that doesn't make any sense. That takes away, as always, in the Christian sort of system, any accountability for anything you've done. Because, hey, look, screw you, you've been born with sin. Okay? And then, don't worry about it, Messiah died for it, so that's not even a problem. So it had nothing to do with you. Isn't that what they do? Oh, you were born with it, too bad on you. Oh, but don't worry about it, he died and took care of it. What was the point then of even telling anybody they have original sin? Well, that's so people know they need Messiah. If you read scripture, you know you need Messiah. Okay, you don't need to have that original sin thing. Now, did somebody sin first? Well, of course, everything has a first. But that has nothing to do with you. All transgress, all fall short based on our own actions, choices, decisions, etc. Second possibility is I would come to you to talk to you for advice on how to approach the person. Okay, how should I handle this? Or maybe I'm not even getting advice on approaching the person, just how do I handle this? Because maybe the advice is, if you came to me, I would ask you, if you go to them, what do you think would happen? Do you think they might listen? Well, maybe. Okay, then maybe go talk to them. Do you think they might listen? Oh no, there's no way they're gonna listen. All right, well then maybe you need to just find peace with it and just deal with it that way. There's so much complexity to human interaction that I can't just say that you have to go to your brother. I know Matthew 18 says, if your brother sins against you, go to your brother. But that's under the assumption that this is something that in the context of the assembly needs to be addressed. That's why you then bring witnesses and then you bring it before the leadership, because it needs to be addressed, because it's causing some sort of bigger problem. If it's just some issue between you and your brother, you don't need to involve everybody in that. You get somebody who's like 60-something, divorced, and decides, I'm gonna go marry me a 35-year-old. Why? Nothing against you 35-year-olds, but you don't know anything about my world at 62. And I really don't know everything about your world, although I've lived in your world, you never lived in mine. So until we can get to the point where we realize everybody's unique and every situation might have some similarities, but still is unique. And so it's enough similarities to give you a little idea of maybe an approach to try, but don't expect it to work the same as the last time. The person's not the same person. I mean, you can do the same thing on the same person, and guess what? It still doesn't always act the same, because that person's not the way they were last week, because they're growing and changing too. And so, just keep that in mind, that we're going all through this transformative growth thing through this thing called life. And over time, we're not the same person. Nobody's trying to work on the problem when they're venting, okay? They just need to get it out. And once it's out, for a lot of people, that's all they needed. If you're a red personality, you vent immediately and then you let it go. It's not long, it's not a big explosion, it's just something, instant reaction, and then it's over. And a lot of people don't understand that. Well, how could you just let it go? Well, because all I needed was to get it out. So different personalities handle things different ways. But venting is not about fixing the problem. It's about feeling better about the whole thing that you're emotionally tied up about, upset about. And part of the way that you might do that is by just getting it out. Yelling, screaming, complaining, whining, whatever, okay, attacking and whatever. But the person knows you're just vomiting your emotions. The single person is going to, from time to time, fantasize, think about, imagine that partner they may have someday or that they desire. You're thinking about and imagining, if you're a woman, what that man might look like in your life. If you're a man, what that woman might look like in your life. Where we end up in trouble is if you're imagining an actual person that you are aware of who's already married. Because if you meet another single person, you may think a lot about them. That's normal, there's no sin in that, that happens, okay? You might wonder what that might look like if you got married, what it might look like if you were spending time on a regular basis and maybe a forever type of thing where you got married and type of thing. The sin part is if the person is not available, meaning they're married. You can't be thinking about, because the thinking about should only be, pay attention, something that is possible in the future could be acted upon. When it comes to authority, like government authority, politics and all that stuff, please deconnect or disconnect or whatever it is that you gotta do, cut the cord or something from your emotional sort of response to whatever they're doing. What you need to do is, one is a need, another is an option, okay? What you need to do is be aware of what they're doing so you know what you need to do in response. If they change a tax law or a regulation that could affect you, you need to be aware of it so you can adjust. Not to get emotionally happy or upset about it, but if there's a change in the law, like for example, it looks like a law just got passed that says there will be no more taxes on tips. Whenever that actually goes into effect, if you're in a business, where you get tips, you now have to know about it so that you don't have how to record it properly when you file your taxes, right? So I'm just saying is, you pay attention to as they change things and affect things and how it affects you. Individually and collectively, you are the apostles. Sometimes you're the apostles because you're mad at him because he's not doing what you want him to do. Sometimes you're the apostles who he's right in your midst and you're still flipping out in the boat that seems like it's getting water filled in it, right? So we have these moments. Sometimes you're overzealous like Peter wanting to cut somebody's head off. All of their behaviors, we can see ourselves in them if we look for it. Okay, and that's part of why we get to see these human men going through these transitional changes and growth over time, and we go, my gosh, that's me too. And so I like that he brought that kind of out and showed that. But I was also appreciative because I've watched enough of the episodes to say, actually, they're all acting like that at times. They all have their Judas sort of, he's not doing the Messiah thing I'm expecting him to do. Why do you care so much about everything? But I say the same thing to people when I counsel. You're so upset about this little thing. What are you going to do when something really bad happens? Where's the capacity? Where's the bandwidth to handle something actually that's really problematic? When you're flipping out over nothing. Well, it's not nothing, it bothers you, but does it need that level? What's gonna happen when something really horrible happens and you've already used it all up on this? There has to be some grades to it so that you're able to handle things. And so this is the problem for us. And then, a lot of it does come from our observing other people not behaving as we think they should. Not doing what we think they should do. So we want to jump in and intervene and whatever. I tell you all the time, most people don't want your help if they haven't asked for it. Is this election important? For now. Any election will be important for now. For this now. This small period of time. Maybe. If your life is actually fairly stable financially and career-wise, probably won't affect you at all. You probably really, if you didn't know about it, wouldn't know about it. Okay, prices go up, prices go down, you can pay the bills either way, nothing's a big deal. It really doesn't, life is really not that different. Yeah, maybe some more immigrants come in or maybe less immigrants come in, okay? But really for your life itself, is it really that different? I mean, if you're at the bottom end struggling, maybe. But if you've made the effort to not be at the bottom end struggling, most presidents aren't gonna affect you very much. Not in any significant way. Gas prices won't affect you very much in a significant way. Food price, nothing if you took care of yourself financially really will affect you that much. So why don't you make the effort to get to the place where that stuff doesn't affect you so much? When people worry about the end times, I say, I think you should be worried about the now times. Because if you're not worried about the now times, the end times aren't gonna go well for you. So I tell people, look, I don't worry about when the end times are. I don't know how much time I have. You don't know how much time you have. So all you've got is now, work on now. But if you're gonna spend all your time trying to line up end times and watch politics to figure all this out, and I'm watching a bunch of just, I don't wanna use language, okay, fools, okay, who are sort of prominent within the Messianic, people that I've actually somewhat respected some of what they've said over the years, who are just beside themselves with whatever's going on in Iran and the Middle East and everything about this end time stuff, and they're flipping out. And they're all panicky about it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? There's no evidence that this is any worse than anything else that's ever happened. It's not even close.